Hey guys, it's Charmise Idris here, and today I'll be teaching you how to make this rose clay face mask. As you can see, I already have my hot water bath going and it is on medium-low heat. And now I'm just going to pour some distilled water into a beaker, a very small beaker. And you'll see exactly why I'm doing this later, but this is basically to replace the water that I will lose from my water phase due to evaporation. And I'm just going to pop that in the hot water bath while I measure out my heated oil phase and my water phase. So first I'm going to measure out my water phase, and that includes the distilled water, vegetable glycerin, and rose water. And you might notice that I actually did not put the rose water in, but I did it later. It was not too late. So yes, rose water, glycerin, and distilled water. And although the recipe will be shown on screen, I do have a link down in the description below to see the recipe and the percentages of each ingredient as well. Alright, I'm going to go ahead and add that water phase to my hot water bath as well. And now I'm going to start with my heated oil phase, which includes sunflower oil, emulsifying wax NF, and cetyl alcohol. When it comes to using oils on my face, I always try to use a non-comedogenic oil, and sunflower oil is hands down one of my favorite oils to use on my face when it comes to formulating with it. But if I did have to swap it out or substitute it for another, I would probably choose argan oil or safflower oil because they are both non-comedogenic as well, and they are both light oils. And now I'm going to add my heated oil phase to my hot water bath. And now you can see that I did end up putting the rose water into the water phase beaker like it was supposed to be. Now that everything is in the water bath, I'm going to let them sit for the next 20 minutes. Now that my heated oil phase is completely melted and both the water phase and oil phase are at about 170 degrees Fahrenheit, I'm going to go ahead and take them out of the water bath, and I'm going to put the heated oil phase on my scale. I'm going to tear it out, so clear it out. Then I'm going to pour my water phase into my oil phase, and then I'm going to see how much that weighs on the scale. And the weight should be 27.25 grams because that's the total weight of the water phase. So the distilled water, glycerin, and the rose water equal 27.25. But of course, I did lose some to evaporation. So what I'm actually going to do is take my small beaker that I had just the distilled water in, and I'm going to pour just a little bit of water into my mixture just to get it up to 27.25 grams. Now, of course, you don't have to do any of that at all if you don't want. You can just simply pour the water phase into the heated oil phase and mix it up. Because honestly, not that much water was lost, but when I'm showing you guys something like a recipe formulation, I try to be as precise as possible. And now I'm just going to use my milk frother to mix up my solution. And I'll mix for about 1 to 2 minutes. And if I was making a bigger batch of this, I would be using a stick blender instead, but because I have such a small amount, I'm going to use the milk frother. Now it's time to add the cool down ingredients, which include the kaolin clay, the rose clay, and the optiphen for a preservative. Both the kaolin clay and the rose clay are said to be good for sensitive and dry skin, and other benefits include gently exfoliating the skin and smoothing while reducing signs of acne. So if this was a bigger batch, I would slowly add the clay while I'm mixing, but because the beaker is so small, I'm just gonna go ahead and add all the clay and then mix it up. And then once it's mixed, after about 1 to 2 minutes, I will go ahead and add the Optifin and mix again. After I finished mixing, I did let it sit out for a couple hours just to cool down, and then I added it to a container, and I'll show you what it looks like the next day. And before I show you guys the final texture, I did want to go ahead and shout out my people over on Patreon. Thank you guys so much for supporting me over there. And if you do want to have your website shown here, make sure you check out my Patreon. The link is in the description below, along with the links to their websites. Alright guys, so this is the final texture of the face mask. I actually did let it sit for like 3 days just because I was on vacation. So this is the final texture. This is what it looks like on my hand, and when I apply it to my face, I do leave it for about 7 to 10 minutes, and I only do it once or twice a week. I truly hope that you guys enjoyed this video. If you did, please hit that thumbs up, and if you are not subscribed yet, please subscribe. Thank you guys. Peace.